What's up everyone? In today's video we're going to go over more crazy looking kaiju art. Now I've already covered both Godzilla and Kong odd looking poster art in the past, but I think it's time we look on Gamera's canvas now. A lot of you have been requesting this, so let's not waste any more time and dive right into this. Please consider both liking and subscribing, it really helps. Of course, we gotta start off with the original movie, and what better one to begin with than the American poster, being the one and only time Gamera's name was ever spelt with 2 M's instead of 1. Now, I gotta say right away that this poster really isn't all that bad. In fact, it looks pretty good, given this was Gamera's one and only theatrical release up in North America. And of course, being so, they have the added American actors just shoved right on the poster here. And they even get top billing above the people who are actually in the movie. Also, according to these notes, Gamera apparently is attacking from outer space. I mean, they send him into space, but he doesn't come down from it, or at least not in this movie. Gamera himself looks good, and I like the extra detail they throw on him here, like the shell looking more extra spiky, and his fangs looking more apparent. Especially when you compare it to the Japanese poster, where it looks like his teeth, minus the tusks, are all missing, and you just get his gums showing. Now, biologically speaking, turtles in real life don't have teeth, but this is a movie about a giant fictional turtle who clearly is shown to have teeth. So the American poster at least gets this right, if a bit exaggerated. What it doesn't get right though, is that the artist for some reason gave him hair. Now, I may be wrong on this one, and it may not actually be hair. Maybe it's some little effect to help Gamera pop out, I don't know. The lobby cards here are okay, but the one that sticks out to me is this one where Gamera is holding a woman in his hands, which doesn't happen in the film. And this seems more in line for King Kong than it does for Gamera, which is probably what this shot was inspired from. It's also a very eerie looking picture, and I can't really say why that is, I just think it has a creepy feel to it. The double bill poster also has an eerie vibe to it, with Gamera's mouth now dripping blood from it. The Spain poster is basically the Japanese one, now just drawn over and painted. Also, the title for this one is called The World Under Terror, which is the only name for this movie not to include Gamera in the title. Gamera vs. Baragon definitely has some very interesting pieces of art to look over, but let's begin with one that's not too bad. Here we have the French poster, titled The Monsters Attack. A very bland and generic name, but that's just what you got to expect from a lot of these non-Japanese Gamera titles in the early days. Anyway, the art itself looks okay. I like how Gamera's blue color scheme here helps him pop out from all the reddish colors that's overtaking the piece. The kaiju are drawn pretty good, but the foreground cast is a whole nother story. I mean, just look at their faces here. The Spain poster here titled The Monsters of the End of the World makes Gamera look like he's about to perform a wrestling move on Baragon, while burning the jungle, I guess. Also, whitewashing seems to have affected our main cast on this one. The German poster, I have no idea what's even happening here, but what I do see clearly is that the title has Godzilla's name in it. This one's called Godzilla, the Dragon from the Jungle. So I guess it's referring to Godzilla as Baragon, since that egg thing was found from the jungle. Well then why is it showing Gamera on the art? He didn't come from the jungle. Or a better question is, why does this even have Godzilla's name on it? It's kind of funny when you realize that some Godzilla movies in Germany were retitled as Frankenstein movies, but yet some Gamera films were retitled as Godzilla ones. My, how backwards the advertising was back then. Finally, we get some Italian beauties. Let me introduce you to Warning, the Monsters Arrive, featuring what seems to be an invasion of giant turtles from space. Clearly, whoever made this one only saw the first 5 minutes of the film to get the idea that this picture is only about giant turtles invading Earth. Also, you remember the blonde woman wearing a pink dress in the movie, right? As wacky as this one is, it pales in comparison to Italy's second poster. Look at that. Would you even guess that this was a Gamera movie just by glancing at this artwork? I could say at least some effort went into Baragon's design. I mean, this still looks nothing like him, but I can at least tell this is supposed to be Baragon. As for Gamera, well, I'm not too sure why he's a green, slender looking dragon here. The first poster at least got the look right. Also, who the hell are these people? They look like they were dragged from a different movie. In fact, this whole piece looks like it was made for a completely different film in general. I didn't really find any awkward looking Gauss ones, so we're going to be skipping ahead on this one. The same can kinda be said for Virus. I mean, these Italian posters look kinda goofy, but these are actually just production shots from the Japanese, and not original art pieces made for the film. Speaking of, this Japanese lobby card here where Gamera just sticks Virus into a burning building is kinda goofy looking. Gamera vs. Giron has a very, very wacky looking poster, at least in the sense of the title being just wrong. Yes, if you couldn't see by the title, the movie in Italy was called King Kong against Godzilla. Sure, why not? Well, from how the poster is structured, I'm guessing they're referring to Giron as King Kong, when Giron looks absolutely nothing like a big ape. Unless in the Italian version someone says Giron is King Kong wearing a monster's skin for some crazy reason. If he can be wearing robot suits in other countries, why couldn't he be wearing monster skins here? Or maybe not, because in a second ad for this movie, they slap a gorilla-looking creature right in the center of the frame, while Gamera and Giron, the monsters actually in the movie, are shoved right to the side. Also, King Ghidorah apparently makes a special guest appearance somewhere in the film. Moving along to Jiger, we have what you may think is another shameful attempt to slap King Kong's name right on the title for market value, but no. This title is not called King Kong, but King Kong, the Empire of Dragons. We sure got a lot of dragons everywhere. And no, I haven't the slightest clue what King Kong is even supposed to mean. It might be some sort of name made up for the Italian version. Speaking of, I just realized that Italy seems to be the only other country, other than Japan, to actually give the Gamera films theatrical releases. Maybe Gamera really caught on in Italy. Also, before moving on, I just gotta say Jiger looks really cool in this poster. The artist really made her look imposing. The German poster is fine. I mean, besides making the kaiju look a little too big. And the title for this one is called Gamera against Jiger. Frankenstein's Demon Threatens the World. Just one of the many Frankenstein-related kaiju movies in Germany. One final thing to look over for this film is a single standout lobby card, which made me question, why did they do it? If you couldn't guess what I'm referring to, I'm talking about Gamera's googly eyes in this shot. I couldn't remember if his eyes were really like this in the film, so I looked for this scene and found that, no, his eyes weren't googly in the movie. The other lobby cards aren't tampered with, or at least not in a silly way. So really it's just this one card that someone decided, yeah, we gotta make Gamera look all cutesy in this one. Jiger is another movie that didn't have too much to offer, so we're going to be skipping that one too. Thankfully, we don't have to skip Super Monster Gamera though, because this movie deserves to be laughed at in more ways than one. First off is the French poster, titled Gamera and the Three Super Women. It pretty much has what you're to expect from this movie. We finally get to a Poland poster. I, and apparently a lot of you, really dig this country's art direction with film posters. But unlike a lot of the Godzilla Poland posters we looked at, which were just far out there, this one seems like it was at least trying to replicate something from the movie. It's not perfect, mind you. I mean, Gamera's head looks a tad bit deformed, and his tusks are just not in the right places, but overall, it's another okay one. The Turkish poster takes the cake for the most out there looking design for this film. Now I know in this movie Gamera does battle with a lot of kaiju, but these are just the wrong ones. With the exception of Baragon, of course. Also, that's kind of funny how both Baragon and Baragon are in the same shot together. And what's up with this other Gamera down here? Why does he look all strange? Also, this woman right here looks like she's having a little too much fun flying around here. Unfortunately though, that's pretty much it for the strange Gamera posters. The later films wouldn't be tampered with, and rightfully so, considering they're some of the best kaiju films out there. But let's not end things here. As a little bonus, let's look at some more strange Godzilla art I managed to come across. The Spain poster for Son of Godzilla has a larger version of Kumanga, looking like it's ready to devour poor Manila here. It's a really cool looking poster and manages to capture the look of the monsters quite nicely, even Godzilla's derpy look in this film. Though I kinda don't know why Psycho looks like a giant here compared to the other cast. Some of you may know about the movie Dogora, right? The film with the giant jellyfish-looking creature? Well, did you know that Godzilla was actually in the movie? Or at least according to Italy at least, where the movie was called Dogora, the monster from the Great Swamp. There's just so many misleading things about this art, especially with the very sketchy looking Godzilla plastered on the front here. And is this supposed to be blood or something? The only correct thing about this one is that Ishiro Honda did have something to do with this movie. A second poster adds a little more to it, with the giant condor and and Dio missing her top for some reason. Did the artist just screw up on what movie they were actually supposed to be drawing for? The Turkish poster for this movie, called Dogra, Monster Octopus, actually has the real title monster on the poster, but for no real reason carried the topless Dio from the last poster and slapped her on here. Godzilla 84 is a very wacky India poster, with Godzilla looking like a giant bobblehead just reaching down to the train. The poster just has a lot going on for it, and the bum from the movie is the only actor that's on the poster. I mean, his role was very important compared to the rest. I mean, who would have held that rope, right? But honestly, this poster is quite tame when you compare it to the Pakistan poster. I couldn't believe this was official when I first saw it. I mean, how could you blame me? Just look at it. There is so much you just want to say no to. The headless guy down here, the man who should be the size of Godzilla's teeth being eaten by Godzilla, the randomly placed dinosaur here. I want to find the person who made this and ask them what was even going through their head when they made this, because this is just crazy. Finally, let's check out some Ebirah ones, like these from Thailand. They're actually really cool looking pieces of art. Even if they diminish Godzilla's presence a bit, I still think they're really cool looking, and they even managed to get the actors to look right on these, for the most part. But let's not end on these. No, let's end on something absolutely amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the India poster titled Ebirah and the Dragon. This is incredible. The next time you watch this movie, you let people know that you're viewing Ebirah and the Dragon. I love it. And that'll do it for this video, everyone. Were there any posters you thought were good or absolutely horrible? If so, let me know in the comments below. And until next time, everyone, take it easy.
The solar system holds many planets, but none like the planet which launched the attack of the monsters. An army of evil creatures comes from every corner of this dying planet. While on Earth, the scientific world gathers in one final effort: the attack of the monsters.